Dr. Adira Patel stood motionless in the Atacama Large Millimeter Arrays control room, her dark eyes fixed on the data streaming across multiple monitors. The readings made no sense. She'd been studying stellar phenomena for 2 decades, but nothing in her experience matched what she was seeing. Dr. Petal, her research assistant, Kai Nakamura, appeared at her shoulder. The European Southern Observatory just confirmed our readings. Whatever this is, it's real. The object they detected 3 weeks ago had initially appeared to be a standard type I supernova in the Carina constellation, approximately 50 light-years from Earth. But supernovas didn't behave like this. The energy signatures were all wrong, and the radiation pattern seemed to be organizing itself. "Get me Director Okafor," Adira said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "And contact Dr. Reyes at NASA's Stellar Physics Division. They need to see this immediately." Within hours, observatories across the globe had their instruments trained on the anomaly. The international astronomical community buzzed with theories and speculations, but none could explain what they were witnessing. A dying star that appeared to be collapsing in on itself, but instead of forming a black hole, it was generating patterns of energy that defied known physics. Director Njideka Okafor arrived at the facility the next morning, her usual composed demeanor showing signs of strain. "Walk me through everything, Adira, from the beginning." As Adira explained their observations, holographic models materialized in the center of the room, showing the star's bizarre behavior. The energy output is increasing exponentially, but it's not dispersing as it should. It's becoming more concentrated, more focused. And she hesitated. It appears to be directing itself toward our solar system. "That's impossible," Okafor stated, but her voice lacked conviction. 3 weeks ago, I would have agreed, but the data is irrefutable. Whatever this phenomenon is, it's not natural. The patterns we're seeing, they show signs of intelligence. The revelation hit the scientific community like a thunderbolt. Humanity had long searched for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, but no one had expected to find it in the death throes of a star. As weeks passed, more disturbing patterns emerged. The energy beam continued to intensify and align itself with increasing precision toward Earth. Initial calculations suggested they had roughly 18 months before the first effects would reach them. Dr. Reyes, joining virtually from NASA's headquarters, shared his team's analysis. If these projections are accurate, the energy beam will cause unprecedented disruptions in Earth's magnetosphere. We're looking at potential worldwide electrical failures, massive atmospheric ionization, and possible breakdown of our planet's magnetic field. The implications were catastrophic. Without Earth's magnetic field, the planet would be exposed to lethal levels of solar radiation. Life as they knew it would become impossible. Governments worldwide were quietly informed, and a classified international task force was assembled. The public remained unaware as scientists and engineers worked frantically to understand and address the threat. Then came the breakthrough. During a late-night analysis session, Kai noticed something in the data that everyone else had missed. The energy patterns weren't just organized. They were modulated, like a signal. "It's not a weapon," Adira realized, staring at Kai's findings. "It's a message." Working with cryptographers and linguistics experts, they began the painstaking process of decoding the signal embedded within the stellar energy patterns. The first successfully translated fragment changed everything. "Prepare, the gateway opens." As Adira shared this development with the International Task Force, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity stood on the brink of something far bigger than they'd imagined. The dying star wasn't a threat. It was an invitation. But to what? The next few months would transform their understanding of the universe and humanity's place within it. As Adira looked out over the Chilean desert that night, watching the strange star pulse in the distance, she knew that nothing would ever be the same. What they didn't yet realize was that this was just the beginning. The real challenges and opportunities still lay ahead, and humanity would need every ounce of its ingenuity, courage, and unity to face what was coming. The United Nations Security Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every space-capable nation packed the room as Dr. Adira Patel and her team prepared to present their findings. The tension was palpable. The message repeats in cycles, Adira explained, her voice echoing through the chamber. We've decoded approximately 60% of it. What we know is this: the dying star was artificially modified by an advanced civilization. They've created what they call a stellar gateway, essentially converting the star's mass energy into a controlled wormhole. Murmurs filled the room. Ambassador Lin from China leaned forward, and they expect us to use this gateway. That's correct, Kay interjected, pulling up a complex simulation. The civilization calls themselves the Meridians. They'd left detailed instructions on how to survive the gateway's activation. We have 14 months to prepare, or Earth will face severe consequences from the gravitational distortions. The room erupted in heated discussions. Russian Defense Minister Volkov's voice cut through the chaos. How do we know this isn't a trap? Some hostile species trying to trick us into lowering our defenses. Director Okafor stepped forward. The physics checks out. Every equation, every prediction they've made has proven accurate. They've even provided us with blueprints for technology we'll need, technology that works with principles we're only beginning to understand. The next few months saw the largest coordinated human effort in history. The International Space Agency, hastily formed from the world's various space programs, began construction of massive orbital platforms designed to the Meridian's specifications. These stabilization arrays would help Earth weather the gateway's activation. But not everyone supported the project. Protests erupted worldwide when the truth became public. Religious groups declared it the apocalypse. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was all a government hoax. Through it all, the strange star grew brighter in the sky, visible even during daylight hours. Dr. James Harrison, quantum mechanics pioneer, led the team working to understand the Meridian technology. It's like they've given a smartphone to people who've just invented the wheel, he explained during one briefing. We can make it work, but understanding how it works will take generations. The stabilization arrays weren't the only challenge. The Meridians had provided designs for what they called consciousness pods, devices meant to protect human minds during the gateway transit. The implication was clear. Physical matter, as they knew it, wouldn't survive the journey unchanged. Private industry joined the effort. Tech billionaire Yuki Tanaka devoted her entire company's resources to manufacturing the pods. We're not just building survival equipment, she declared. We're building humanity's future. Meanwhile, Adira and her team continued decoding the message. Each new fragment revealed more about the Meridians and their network of stellar gateways spanning the galaxy. They had encountered other civilizations at humanity's development stage and guided them through similar transitions. The breakthrough came 9 months into the project. Adira burst into Director Okafor's office, clutching a tablet. We've decoded the last section. The Meridians, they're us. Or rather, they're what humanity becomes in a possible future. They're reaching back through time and space to help us survive what they call the Great Filter, the transition from planetary to cosmic civilization. The revelation changed everything. This wasn't first contact with aliens. It was first contact with humanity's own descendants, reaching back across time to ensure their own existence. As the deadline approached, the orbital arrays neared completion. 300 million consciousness pods were manufactured and distributed to population centers worldwide. The Earth held its breath, preparing for either transcendence or extinction. Adira stood in her old spot at the Atacama Array one last time, watching the star that now dominated the sky. Kai joined her, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Do you think we're ready?" he asked. She took a sip, considering. "I don't think anyone can ever be ready for something like this. But that's humanity's greatest strength, isn't it? We do things before we're ready. We take leaps before we can see the other side." Above them, the star pulsed with increasing intensity, and the final phase of humanity's greatest journey was about to begin. The race against time was ending, but the race toward their cosmic destiny was just beginning. The consciousness pods gleamed under the harsh lights of the testing facility. Unlike the crude metal and plastic of human engineering, these devices seemed to flow like liquid mercury, their surfaces rippling with iridescent patterns. Dr. Samira Al-Rashid, lead engineer of Project Stellar Shield, ran her hand along one of the pods. "The quantum entanglement matrix is stable," she announced to the gathered team. "Neural interface systems are responding exactly as the Meridian specifications predicted." After 6 months of testing, they were finally ready for human trials. The first volunteer was Dr. Viktor Petrov, a theoretical physicist who had helped decode the pod's operating principles. As medical staff secured him into the pod, he managed a tight smile. "If this works, it will redefine everything we know about consciousness and quantum mechanics. If it doesn't..." He left the sentence unfinished. The pod sealed with a liquid-like motion, enveloping Victor in its metallic embrace. Screens around the room came alive with data as his consciousness interfaced with the Meridian technology. For 5 minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then Victor's voice came through the speakers, filled with wonder. I can see them. The networks. The paths between stars. It's beautiful." The test was a success. Victor emerged changed, not physically, but there was a depth to his eyes that hadn't been there before. "It's like seeing in color after a lifetime of black and white," he tried to explain. "We're not just building protection. We're building evolution." Meanwhile, in orbit, the stabilization arrays took shape. Massive structures of impossibly light yet strong materials, constructed using manufacturing techniques centuries ahead of human technology. Commander Zara Peng supervised the construction from the International Space Station, coordinating teams from 20 different nations. Each array acts as a node in a planetary defense grid, she explained during a video conference with world leaders. When activated, they'll create a quantum field that will protect Earth's fundamental physical constants during the gateway's formation. But as the project progressed, complications arose. The energy emissions from the dying star began affecting Earth's magnetosphere sooner than expected. Aurora displays lit up skies worldwide, and global communications suffered increasing disruption. Director Okafor called an emergency meeting of the project leaders. "We're running out of time. The stellar gateway is becoming unstable. We need to activate the arrays within the next 72 hours, or we risk losing the window entirely." The news sent shockwaves through the project. The arrays were only at 80% completion, and barely a third of Earth's population had access to consciousness pods. Difficult decisions had to be made. Dr. Al-Rashid proposed a radical solution. The pods share a quantum network. If we can boost the field strength, we might be able to extend each pod's protective radius. It would mean pushing the technology beyond its tested limits, but do it, Okafor ordered. We're well past playing it safe. Teams worked around the clock, modifying pods and reinforcing the arrays. The dying star now dominated the sky, its blue-white light casting strange shadows even at noon. Global panic rose as the deadline approached, but years of preparation had created robust systems to maintain order. In her lab, Samira made the final adjustments to the pod network. Each modification pushed further into unknown territory, beyond even what the Meridian instructions had outlined. Humanity wasn't just following a predetermined path anymore. They were blazing their own trail. "The arrays are ready," Commander Peng reported from orbit. "Field generators at maximum capacity. Waiting for your signal." Director Okafor looked at the assembled project leaders, each face showing the weight of the moment. "The next few hours will determine the future of our species. Not just whether we survive, but what we become." She took a deep breath. "Begin the activation sequence." As the arrays powered up, the sky itself seemed to ripple. The star's light intensified, and every consciousness pod worldwide hummed with energy. In her pod, Samira felt the first tickle of awareness as her mind expanded into the quantum network. Around the globe, billions of others experienced the same sensation. They were about to discover if humanity's greatest leap would end in transcendence or catastrophe. The next few hours would rewrite the laws of physics, consciousness, and human potential. And somewhere, across time and space, their future selves, the Meridians, waited to welcome them into a larger universe. The activation of Earth's quantum defense grid triggered phenomena never before witnessed in human history. The sky blazed with impossible colors, as reality itself seemed to bend and flex. In orbit, Commander Peng watched in awe as the stabilization arrays generated overlapping fields of protective energy around the planet. "Field strength at 90% and holding," reported her orbital team. "Quantum coherence stable across all nodes." But something was wrong. The readings from the dying star showed fluctuations that didn't match any of their models or the Meridian predictions. Dr. Al-Rashid, monitoring from her pod in the primary control center, detected the anomaly first. "The gateway is forming faster than expected," she announced through the quantum network. "The star's collapse is accelerating exponentially." Director Okafor's voice cut through the chaos. "How long do we have?" "Minutes, not hours. The gravitational shear will tear Earth apart unless we complete the transition now." They had planned for a gradual process, allowing time for the consciousness pods to safely integrate billions of minds into the quantum network. A rushed transition risked fragmenting humanity's collective consciousness, potentially losing countless minds in the process. Dr. Petrov, now fully integrated into the pod network, proposed a desperate solution. "The pods are connected quantum mechanically. If we can synchronize everyone's transition simultaneously." "The energy requirements would be astronomical," Samira interrupted. "We can draw power from the gateway itself," Petrov insisted. "Use its own gravitational energy to fuel our transition." It was theoretical, dangerous, and their only option. As the sky turned violent with quantum distortions, humanity prepared for its greatest gamble. Through the pod network, billions of minds joined in a singular purpose, creating a collective consciousness unprecedented in Earth's history. Commander Peng initiated the sequence from orbit, the arrays redirecting the gateway's massive energy into the global pod network. What followed defied description. A moment of universal awareness as humanity's consciousness transcended its physical limitations. The gateway opened fully, reality warped, and Earth's entire population experienced simultaneous transformation. Part 5. Beyond the Light. When awareness returned, nothing was the same. The human consciousness had evolved, expanded, transcended its original limitations. Through the quantum network, billions of minds found themselves interconnected yet distinct, existing in a state that bridged physical reality and something far beyond. The Earth hung suspended in a bubble of altered space-time, protected by the stabilization arrays that now pulsed with energy patterns matching the ancient meridian technology. But the planet wasn't alone anymore. Through the gateway, humanity could perceive a vast network of similar worlds, each harboring civilizations at various stages of cosmic evolution. Director Okafor, her consciousness now spanning multiple levels of reality, made first contact with the Meridians. They appeared not as physical beings, but as patterns of pure thought and energy, exactly what humanity was becoming. You have succeeded beyond our projections. The Meridian consciousness communicated. By innovating upon our designs, you've opened new pathways we hadn't considered. The cycle continues, but change is constant. Dr. Al-Rashid, exploring her expanded awareness, understood at last. The Meridians weren't simply humanity's future selves. They were one possible future, reaching back to ensure not their own existence, but to guarantee humanity's survival while preserving its capacity for innovation and change. Over the following months, humanity learned to navigate its new existence. Physical bodies remained on Earth, sustained by the pod network, while consciousness could roam the gateway network, accessing knowledge and experiences beyond imagination. Cities transformed as human technology merged with meridian principles, creating environments that adapted to thought itself. Commander Peng established the first extrasolar outpost, using her understanding of gateway mechanics to extend humanity's reach beyond Earth. Dr. Petrov led teams exploring the fundamental nature of consciousness itself, unlocking secrets that bridged science and philosophy. But perhaps most remarkably, humanity maintained its diversity of thought and purpose. The quantum network allowed unity without uniformity, preserving individual identity while enabling unprecedented collaboration and understanding. A year after the transition, Dr. Al-Rashid stood in a chamber of pure thought-manifested energy, addressing representatives from 1,000 worlds. "We stand at a new beginning," she declared. "We've preserved our essence while transcending our limitations. The star's death marked not an ending, but a birth, humanity's first step into a cosmic civilization." The dying star that had triggered their transformation now existed as a permanent gateway, a reminder of the moment when humanity faced extinction and instead chose evolution. Through the quantum network, future generations would access the memory of that transition, understanding how close they came to losing everything, and how that danger spurred them to become something greater. In the vast network of gateways spanning the galaxy, Earth became known as the world that didn't just survive the transition, it revolutionized it. And somewhere in the infinite possibilities of space-time, the Meridians smiled, knowing that their past selves had exceeded all expectations. Humanity's story didn't end with transcendence, it began anew, written across the stars themselves.